Hello and welcome to Cats Week. I'm Annalise Poorman. During public comment at the Bloomington City Council Committee of the Whole meeting on July 20th, a Bloomington resident, David Wolf Bender, and student at Indiana University spoke out against anti-Semitism in the community.
Just after the City Council let out for its summer recess, I came across this in my news feed. It's an article from the IDS, IU's campus newspaper. The story details a Bloomington-based coffee business that is using anti-Semitic logos and language in their promotion, in their promotional material. So why am I here tonight? I am here because of conversations I often have with fellow residents. I am told by a lot of my friends that while there may be pockets of hate across our state, I am told that somehow it doesn't exist here in Bloomington. And I'm here tonight to say that hatred and anti-Semitism does exist here in Bloomington, and I'm here to say that it hurts. In the past 2 years since I came to IU, I've seen this firsthand. I've seen a long string of anti-Semitic incidents. 2 years ago, in one of my first month on campus, a story came out about an anti-Semitic slur being thrown at the IU Hillel building during a Jewish community service. Then a mezuzah belonging to a Jewish student was torn down from a dorm room door. Then, in December 2021, swastikas showed up all across the city, one appearing and one coinciding on the first night of Hanukkah. Then, comments on a website attacking Jewish student organizations at IU, and now a Bloomington business creating a logo that looks mysteriously similar to a swastika. I myself have witnessed and faced anti-Semitism in this community. Implicit and explicit, it hurts. And while I do not and will not speak for all Jews at IU, I can tell you that it makes me personally feel unsafe and it makes me worried. And yet still, I love this city, and one of the many reasons I chose to attend IU was because of its thriving, large Jewish community, one of the largest among colleges in the country. Hillel International estimates that there are nearly 4,500 undergraduate and graduate Jewish students at IU. It's a significant proportion of our city, and it's a significant proportion of the IU community. So what can we do? Our leaders can speak up. We can condemn these incidents, we can report these incidents, we can have conversations with our friends and families to discuss the consequences of anti-Semitism and hatred. We can adopt the working IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, and we can live up to the highest of Jewish values. We can educate our kids. We can show them that this type of hatred is wrong, or any hatred for that matter, is wrong. Because in Judaism, education is not just a value, it's a responsibility. I'm not here tonight to ask for one specific policy from this council or the city leadership. One policy cannot change this. I'm here to call attention to this issue because in August, IU's 4,500 Jewish students, will return to campus, and IU's Hillel, Chabad, and other Jewish student organizations, along with city, temples, and organizations, will organize High Holy Day events and services. They deserve to be safe. They need to be safe, and our city needs to ensure their safety, because safety for all, regardless of who they are or their religious affiliation, is not just a value for our city, it's a responsibility. Thank you.
The council debated Peerless Development's request for the city to vacate the alley behind the Johnson Creamery building. Corporation Counsel Beth Kate summarized the negotiations that have taken place so far.
When council left for recess, where this was left was that you would come back at this meeting and that the city and Peerless would continue to try to negotiate a contribution toward public art in exchange for the right-of-way vacation. We have not been able to reach a deal on that. The city had asked for, the last thing that we asked for was $200,000 over 2 years. And what Peerless came back with was $75,000 after operating for 6 months at 85% plus occupancy in their new building. And so we think that the asset is worth more than that. We think that the city should get a reasonable contribution toward what would be a valuable public art installation in exchange for the right-of-way. And so we haven't been able to reach a deal on that.
Kate explained that Peerless recently offered a deal to put in a new alley in exchange for the right-of-way of the current alley where they would like to build their apartment complex.
My understanding is that, and I've seen, I think, an email that went to you all as well shortly before this meeting from Peerless that has proposed moving the right-of-way effectively, having the council vacate the current right-of-way, and then if council wishes, having them dedicate a new right-of-way that I believe from a look at the map would be in the Johnson Creamery Historic District. I have various thoughts on that, but I don't know if you want those now or you want to hear from Peerless further on that.
Peerless Development founder Michael Cordero said that the new alley would be just outside of the historic district.
So yeah, after having discussions with the city and ultimately city staff and not being able to come to an agreement on an amount that this project can really afford, and then having conversations with council members individually, the idea came about of relocating the alley, and we've been sort of trying to figure out what the process of that would look like. And where we've shown it drawn is just outside of the historic district. So it basically would fall just north of the historic district. And we think that it's an appropriate place for the alley, given the plans, the existing building and the plans for the proposed building. It would actually be a usable right-of-way, once again, where right now it is not. So we would be happy to move forward with some sort of a plan to basically relocate the location of this alley in similar size and shape. And one way that I've been told that could be done is a vote on vacating this evening, and then we move forward. Again, I sort of said if the council and the city or whoever wants to weigh in on that would like this alley and like to keep it and place it into service, we're happy to dedicate it and work through with the Board of Public Works and the Planning Commission to ultimately replat the property and dedicate the new parcel back to the city.
The council decided that they did not have enough time to consider Peerless's new offer and tabled the vote until their next meeting. The next council meeting will be held on August 3rd. At the Monroe County Public Library Board of Trustees meeting on July 20th, Director Greer Carson gave his monthly report.
So a few highlights to share with everyone. We had nearly 4,000 page views of our recently digitized school yearbook collection, which had recently launched, and nearly 7,000 page views for our staff picks book list, which is up almost 30% from last month. This is most likely due to the popularity of the summer reading program and the recommendations for that. We've seen a steady increase in overall collection use for the third straight month, and a continued increase in monthly collection use compared to 2021 month by month. We were very excited to reintroduce the Fix-It Fair after a 2-year hiatus, and we saw a very good turnout for that. We hosted a number of programs in June celebrating Pride Month, as we do every year. Our foundation, the Friends of the Library, held its annual meeting on June 22nd. This was the first in-person meeting they had had since the start of the pandemic. We had a wonderful turnout and an engaging presentation by biographer and MCPL friend Michael Sheldon. Of course, we pride ourselves on connecting with Monroe County teens in as many ways as we can, and there are a number of really cool anecdotes from the ground floor and teen space patrons in the report this month, my favorite being one from our Know Your Glow dance. You may have noticed. The quote was, "This was the best night of my life." And I read that and I thought, how often do you hear library patrons and teen patrons in particular say something like that with regard to a library program? This is not in the director's report, but an update on our work with our potential partners at HealthNet. We are working on an updated lease for use of the downtown library space to provide their community health service, and it's nearing completion. So we do expect to bring that back, if not in August, certainly by September, so we can move forward with that partnership.
Carson shared that the Southwest Branch construction is on track. Carson said that he meets with the general contractor and the architects at the site every other Thursday to stay informed with the construction process. Board member Nichelle Whitney Wash asked if there was any update on a landscaping issue that had been brought up at their last meeting. Carson said that it had been resolved. Next, Carson presented the draft of the 2022 compensation study and asked that the board approve the draft.
Having discussed the compensation philosophy for the library and strategic goals for making changes to our current plan, this RFP outlines the scope of work expected for this study, which includes a review of the library's structure and current compensation plan, staff feedback on cost of living experiences and related factors informing job satisfaction and employee retention, wage schedule and benefits comparisons with regional, county, and citywide peer employers, and some written recommendations for updating the library's current compensation plan. We have intentionally focused this RFP on the nuts and bolts of the process rather than any specific strategic goals of updating our compensation plan. Those strategic goals and discussions, which will ultimately reflect our compensation philosophy and institutional values, will be informed not only by the results of the study, but also by staff, administration, and trustee input over the course of the next several months. Our legal team has reviewed and assisted in preparing the draft, and we're looking to publish this RFP as early as tomorrow with a turnaround date of August 5th and an approved vendor contract to bring to you at the August 17th board meeting. Discussions we've had with some of our peer organizations presently conducting similar studies, and that includes public libraries in Indiana, has given us insight into the process, and preliminary discussions with some potential vendors have also confirmed that our goal of completing the study and proposing changes to our compensation plan by the end of this year is indeed realistic. So tonight we seek your approval of the draft RFP for the 2022 compensation study in order to proceed with next steps.
The Board of Trustees voted unanimously to approve the draft. The next meeting will be held on August 17th. And we'll have more Cats Week after this message.
I'm at risk of thinking there's just no point in trying.
I'm at risk of looking in the mirror and hating what I see.
I'm at risk of regretting what I do, just to join the crowd.
I'm at risk of being told not to tell. And you would never know it by looking at me.
Welcome back to Cats Week. At the Bloomington Board of Public Works meeting on July 19th, Neighborhood Compliance Officer for Housing and Neighborhood Development, Kenneth Lifford, asked the board to approve a continuous abatement of a property at 2216 South Laurelwood.
This has been in my neighborhood for a couple of years now, and it's last year a neighbor actually mowed the front yard for the person that lives there. I've never had any interaction with the owner. He rarely takes the citations off the door. I've never even seen the person. A neighbor tells me that he does live in there. But I issued a warning on 4/8/22. I issued a $50 fine on 5/10 of 22, a $100 fine on 5/24 of 22, a $150 fine on 6/9 of 22, and then on 7/6 of 22, another $150 fine with the section for the abatement checked on that citation. I've never had any interaction. He's never called in, or he or she, I really don't know. So it's waist high or better, and the HOA has reached out several times.
The board approved the abatement unanimously. The next Board of Public Works meeting will be held on August 2nd. On July 18th at the Richland Bean Blossom School Board meeting, Ready Schools coordinator Jamie Miller spoke about a grant RBB received called the 3E Grant, which stands for Exploration, Engagement, and Experience.
I'll just give you a quick overview, and I'll look forward to sharing more down the road in the fall as we start to implement this grant. But the 3E grant is a Pathways grant, so supporting districts in starting to both wrap their heads around and make actionable changes toward career pathways, not just in high school, where the next level programs of study are starting to be implemented, which are the CTE clusters of courses that represent different career clusters in industry, but then also looking at PK-12 career progressions and what pieces we can put in place in the elementary and junior high levels to start to better inform students about the pathways that are both available to them and those that are the most quickly growing in our region. For example, the business pathways at the high school have generated a lot of interest among students, both business management and entrepreneurship, which is a marketing pathway. And so in each of our schools, student-run businesses or student-run enterprises is a piece of our Ready Schools plan that has attracted a lot of attention and has been a really excitement generating strategy within our Ready Schools plan. So those student-run businesses will be one strategy of the Ready Schools plan that can benefit from this pathway. So now as students start to self-select into business courses at the high school, into a new entrepreneurship course, which is an elective course at the junior high, and then into various programs at the elementary level as well, that are putting students in those small business owner roles, starting to explore what it looks like to manage money, to delegate roles, to lead, all of those same skills that are on our graduate profile. This grant is just building out various strategies that you can see on the flyer that I shared with you, to start to implement those strategies and those elements of our existing Ready Schools plan in each of our schools.
The board approved the program quotes unanimously. The next Richland Bean Blossom School Board meeting will be held on August 15th. And we'll have more Cats Week after this message.
For hurting families in Monroe County.
A contribution to children who are vulnerable and in need of an advocate.
A staff that goes above and beyond to support and advocate for children in need of services.
The web of remarkable people who are dealing with difficult situations.
So many young people that are in need of help and trying to find a stable family, a stable place to live. Without the CASAs to make that happen, many of them would be unable to find a good home.
I love being that voice for the child who can't speak for themselves in court.
It takes me out of my comfort zone, and it also helps others.
CASA means supporting our community.
Being a CASA is making sure that your village is healthy and whole, and that the children in your village will someday be able to help the village as well.
A child who doesn't have a voice, maybe in their family situation or a school situation, now has a voice that can advocate for them.
I really enjoy working with children that are going through difficult times and letting them know that I care about their future.
We are privileged with our charge of representing the best interest of children. And so therefore we can advocate for exactly what they need without restriction, focusing on their best interest.
I want to repair the world one child at a time.
Welcome back to Cats Week. At the Bloomington Redevelopment Commission meeting on July 18th, City Legal Larry Allen updated the board on the IU Health parcel purchases near the new hospital site.
But we did close on the IU Health parcels besides the main hospital site, so that happened on June 30th. So we've now taken over possession of those parcels, and we should see demolition starting quite soon on the Phase 1 East parcels that are east of Rogers Street.
Housing and Neighborhood Development Director John Zodi added that the Hand Department handed out door hangers to inform nearby residents and businesses about the changes. Next, Deputy Mayor Donald Griffin presented on Resolution 22-49 to approve a purchase agreement for a property at 320 West 8th Street.
This is referred to as the Showers Complex. Right now, currently our mayor, our neighbor, not mayor, I'm sorry. We've entered into a offer to purchase agreement with CFC for the other There are three parts of the Showers complex. One is currently owned by us, the other is owned by CFC, and the other part, the northern section, is owned by the county, Monroe County. We have an offer to purchase on the CFC portion. It has 62,000 square feet of Class A office space. It will almost double the space we currently have. It sits on 0.82 acres, and we are purchasing this primarily for our public safety headquarters, which will include the police headquarters as well as the fire administration headquarters. The asking price was $12 million. We have a mutually agreed to offer to purchase at $9,250,000, and this is roughly $149 a square foot. If we were to build new, we're looking at conservatively, we're looking at $300 a square foot if we were to build new headquarters. And like I said, that's conservatively. So this offer to purchase is contingent upon several things happening. We have a due diligence period of about 60 days. And so we're going to have to start immediately on that. That 60 days starts when the offer gets officially accepted by the RDC.
Griffin explained what they still need to work on before turning the space into public safety headquarters.
We're going to have to find out how much it's going to cost to convert the space for our needs, for public safety needs, and that's going to include bringing in architects and public safety construction experts to see how much it's going to cost to put together, to carve out that space for our police facility and fire facility. Right now, our police facility is about 21,000 square feet, the one located on 3rd Street. And then the 4th Street Fire Station 1 currently is our fire station, but it also holds the administration portion of our fire department. And you know, that's a very small space right now, which it's probably less than 1,500 square feet. What else let me see here. So experts, architects, we have to analyze the current leases as well as still do our inspection period. Still do the inspections for physical and mechanicals and that kind of thing. And that's it.
On July 18th at the Bloomington Utilities Service Board meeting, Conservation and Energy Resource Manager Nolan Hendon gave an update on the city's solar panels.
Just wanted to give a brief update on the solar panels based on questions asked last meeting. So just a quick reminder, we have 4 solar arrays throughout our CVU facilities. We have one at Dillman, one at Monroe, one at our Southeast Booster, and one at our service center here. And they have all been performing as they were expected to when built, so we've been producing what we've expected to. There are some caveats to that. With Dillman, as you all know, there's been a lot of construction happening there, so there's been some planned outages as well as some not planned outages, which you all have addressed as a board, I believe, a few times. So that means that the arrays haven't always been on and producing and connected to the grid when that's happened. So that's something that we shouldn't expect going forward. And then at Monroe, it's been producing for the most part ever since it's been online, since I think 2020 the full facility went online. There has been some communications issues, which on the part that actually communicates to us what it's producing. And since that facility uses so much energy, none of what we're producing doesn't go back to the grid. It all stays in our facility. So it's hard for us to actually see what we're producing unless we have that meter working. So when it has been working, like I said, it's been doing as expected, but we don't have full years worth of data because of that. So those are a few of the details. I guess a high point with this building, it produced 76% of all the electricity we used in 2021. And we did just update our outdoor lighting last year during that time, so that might go up some. So that's exciting to see we're close to a net zero on site here with this building. So those are the main points. If there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Next, Director of Utilities Vic Kelson updated the board on the utility department's upcoming work.
The first one is July 29th. That's a week from Friday. There will be a celebration of 50 years of the relationship between the Parks and Rec Department and utilities regarding the management of Lake Griffey. They will have been managing the lake since 1971, or since 1972, so it's 50 years. So there will be a celebration there at Lake Griffey. I'll make sure that you all get all the details as that firms up. The second thing is, and I know Kirk White knows about this, we are working with new faculty at IU to look into doing surveillance for viruses, not just SARS-CoV-2, but also some other viruses appear to be possible. We are organizing a meeting with the mayor's office, Indiana University, IU Health. We've invited the county, the South Central Sewer District, and there was one more organization to participate in some discussions about what's possible for, IU, sorry, and to look at what's possible in terms of community surveillance for viruses in our wastewater going forward. So we're really excited about that, and it's a great opportunity.
The next Utilities Service Board meeting will be held on August 1st. And that is all for Cats Week. Thank you for joining us. For Cats and WFHB, I'm Annalise Poorman.